competition back in March or April. I suddenly thought I'd like to collaborate with Digger Te Kanawa, someone I've wanted to collaborate with for years. And she was prepared to join in with me. And so prior to heading over to Europe in April, I quickly came up with some drawings and sent them in. And months and months later, we found that we'd won it. I have a passion for Māori weaving, and I vowed that when I sold my first sculpture, I would buy, first of all, one of Rangi Maria's kete, and also some of Digger's. And sure enough, I happened to sell one work or two works down in Wellington, and on the way back, sure enough, I purchased these works in fantastic kete, absolutely fantastic. I did that on a number of occasions. Well, I'll just explain the project that we've won. We won it on the basis of these drawings and a small artist statement that I made up. You know, I always try to use local stones, so we went straight through to Hinuera, and it's a volcanic extrusion, and it's motored its way across the landscape, and apparently, we were told this morning, probably blocked the flow of the Waikato River, which used to go out where the Firth of Thames is, apparently.
Ko nā tauira o tēnei Korowai a Digger, hei tauira mo te whakairo kōhatu a Chris.
You're just going to have a big stone.
Yeah, well, there'll be four of them. There'll be three or four columns.
Kia Chris Booth ko tēnei mahi te taumata o tōna umanga, e hara ia I te tanata whai pūkena anake, e nari e whai ana ia I te huarahi tikanga ārua.
I don't want the symbols going this way, they'll have to go this way. It's just that the length, because they're the same, because they're, right, yeah.
I tīmata tēnei haere I te taone o kirikiri, te wāhi e noho ana a e mahi ana ia.
My profound, for want of a better word, affinity to the way that my life has been shared with Māori, I'm very grateful for. I was brought up, as I said before, on this land. I went to the local primary school. Kirikiri was a small place then. It's just a small village. Just had a couple of shops and a petrol station, and that's it, apart from the stone store and a camp house. Many of the people that lived here were Māori, and the school had a number of Māori children, and like any human beings, we all just played as human beings.
I tīmata tēnei aurere āna mō nā toka o te ao tūroa I te wā iaia I te kāreti o Northland, nā Selwyn Wilson āia I awhi mō tēnei moemoea āna.
Selwyn being Māori, he really focused on a Māori heart and soul and spirit in his teaching. He taught us using the criteria for teaching then, which was based on Western criteria, I guess, but he brought a spirit to it that was different, and he also brought in guidance for us in our relationship to using a respect to things Māori in regards to symbolism and in weaving and in painting and in carving. So then I went off to art school in Christchurch. Of course, a completely different ball game down there, completely different culturally. But nevertheless, I'd had enough instilled in me from my childhood, as I said before, being raised here and the affinity with the rock here and the trees, plus this extra thing that I had learnt that had been instilled in me through my bringing up of an association with things Māori, that somehow brought out a language of my own at art school, which was playing with pebbles and sticks and things, which was quite new for people to do things in art school then like that. Thankfully, my teacher there, sculpture teacher, was Tom Taylor, and he thankfully didn't ridicule me, though I was ridiculed by others. the sticks and stones boy, and he supported me absolutely and utterly. I've worked in many materials, but it's turned out stone was my passion. I've also often asked myself the question, where did that inspiration come from to use stone? I love stone. I think stones are living things. I think that, you know, just like we are. I mean, when you look at them, chemically analyse them, they're not much different than us. The river down here, I was born on this land, and my father bought it back in the late 20s, early 30s. Mum and Dad would take us swimming down the river with all us boys, and that river is an ancient volcanic flow. And there are beautiful basalt boulders down there, and there are all that sort of beautiful holes that have been worn down from years of flooding with stones whirling around within the stone, creating holes. And then we've got the bush just nearby and around us, and not far away is the Manganangina Kauri forest. And we were brought up with those trees as well, these great columns of things. And of course, next door there are big gum trees. And I often think my inspiration for stone and the big structures that I do came from loving playing in this big three-dimensional environment and with the boulders and the trees and that sort of stuff.
Nā te māma o Digger Te Kanawa a Dame Rangimarie Hetit a ia I ako. Nā te mea tino mōhio ia ki te mahi whāriki Korowai hoki ka whakamihia a ia a Taiao. I kitea hoki ana tauna I te ao Putanua.
Oh, a lot of the old things are lost.
But it seems like these symbols are almost multifunctional. That you you can adapt them to a certain degree to fit.
Yeah.
We can relate all these symbols somehow to growth, though, can we? In plants
Oh,
and
I think so. Well, Nihoniho patterns, Nihoniho is teeth. I think it relates to the fish.
right.
And the Poutama always refers to growth, or on the stairs to achievement and stuff like that.
Yeah. The raranga.
Raranga is to weave.
Yeah, that's right. To weave. Yeah.
You raranga a whāriki and you raranga a kete, flax kete.
Right. But I've always in the back of my mind thought, I'd love to be able to work with you one day. And well, it looks like we're going to. Well, we are. There are 21 columns, not just these few that you see here. There are 21 columns ranging over 120 metres of road. That concept I came up with before I went down to see her. And I came up with a concept of an earth blanket over the columns before I went and saw her. The idea of having her input into the design of this Kākahu was what I particularly wanted her to agree to if she was willing to. And thankfully she was, yeah. So it was a really beautiful blend of our two artworks, if you like. I've always had a passion for weaving, and ever since I was a young boy, and particularly Māori weaving, and so that's why I guess I started doing earth blankets many, many years ago, and putting her designs in it, making it hers and mine, was a beautiful collaboration. And it's a fascinating material. I've made this model from the ignimbrite. It's actually volcanic. It's a volcano that apparently went out sideways about 250,000 years ago. and it shot out at about 160 kilometres an hour, and it in effect blocked the exit of the Waikato River, which used to go out through the Firth of Thames, and it forced the Waikato to go out the west coast, which is fascinating. And as this ignimbrite over thousands of years has broken down, eroded, it has in fact, the eroded material has in fact created the fertility of the Waikato region, which is fascinating. So all the more reason that I use Hinuera stone to signify the entrance to the Hamilton Gardens, a place for growing things, a place for fertility. Stunning, isn't it? Of course it'll fall down on us now, but... First time I've ever been so close. Yeah. Digger Te Kanawa, of course, had said that we could actually adapt her designs to suit the pebbles, and we rang her back several times as we were building it because we were really having trouble to get some of her designs translated into a pebble structure. Tanya then started from day one, once all the patterns were set up on cardboard, and then Tanya and Tom set up the whole of these panels, made these special floors. We realised we had to have a special floor because this whole Kākahu had to be transported to Hamilton, and it weighs 5 tonnes altogether, and then it has to be sewn together. You know, we're cutting it into 3 at the moment, and then it has to be sewn together when we're down there to be able to be craned into place. And she literally has done all the work herself. She's literally picked up and chosen every pebble herself and twisted every bit of wire, threaded every pebble onto the stainless steel cable, and then tightened every little bit of wire the whole way through. 12,000 of these stones, at least 12,000 of them. But of course she would have handled lots more because she's rejected the whole lot as well. And then obviously had to fit into these tight requirements of getting these patterns perfectly done in pebbles. She's achieved it. It's just incredible.
Well, Chris comes up with a drawing which looks fantastic. And then we've got to try and put it into practice. Well, it's taken up all of my life over the last 4 months. It was a bit daunting when I first started, the first couple of days, and you're faced with this huge platform that needs to be covered. And yeah, it didn't take long to realise that it was going to be a long project.
Her hands, I don't know whether you noticed her wrists and her arms. You wouldn't want to play wrist or that sort of arm wrestling with her. I mean, she's, you know, that stuff she's twisting is very, very hard stainless steel. It's black because it's been anodised to just the perfect softness. It was anodised in England to the perfect softness to be able to twist it still, but not stretch once it was in place. If it was too soft, it would stretch and the whole thing would just open up.
These quartz rocks have come all the way from Southland, so as far away almost as you can get. But they're a quartz, so they're a very strong rock. I just love the morning light on this now because it comes across and you can see the sort of the waves of the different size rocks. It sort of it reminds me of kind of a fabric or a material, or the rocks seem to suggests to me sort of like the knots in the flax and the Maori woven cloaks and things. Yeah.
It's remarkable how she's just dedicated herself to this job, and she's done it. She's just done it. It's just amazing. Of course, the greatest thing that we're mostly nervous about, of course, is how Digger's going to receive it. But we feel reasonably confident that she's going to be more than happy with it. It'll probably be she says, from my discussions with her over the telephone, that this is going to be her biggest Kākahu on the planet. When we saw her, we called her the matriarch. It's got an aura about it. And it's a huge honour. I feel so humbled to work with such incredible materials from special places in our country.
We wanted a monumental type sculpture, something that sort of recognised the Māori heritage of that area, something that recognised the sort of scope of the gardens, because they are fantastic gardens, and incorporated all of that in a very sort of unique, different way. We were looking for an artist that had a national, international reputation, that could produce a piece of artwork that we as Hamiltonians would be proud of.
What an extraordinary experience. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's quite emotional, isn't it? I've had my nose too close to the job, and in fact it's meant to be 180 degrees around the other way, because the patterns are meant to be on the highest point of the sculpture, not on this lowest point. Sad that it took me so long for my head to get around it, but thankfully we've only clipped one of the cables, and let's face it, I mean, when we try a piece of clothing on, especially if it's the same on the front and the same on the back, we might put it on and prefer it the other way around anyway. So, and I think if we're all honest with ourselves, we all do that sometimes. Okay, we'll go anti-clockwise. Okay, that's it. I'm happy with it, Tom.
Good.
Very
We're
happy
all
with
happy.
it. Yeah.
We are all happy.
I've collaborated here with Digger Te Kanawa, this incredible, this person that I've admired all my life, and to have her in the work is a huge honour, and this is the major, and it's a true collaboration. It's an evolution of my earth blankets, but having Digger be involved from the branch that came in from the Korowais into my earth blankets, it still hasn't sunken home properly yet.
Te karanga o te rā nei Kahu i mai tātou e ko te rangi maari, te hoi o runga ko puna te aroha e. Kia ora koutou. Wonderful. It looks like a cloak. Yeah, that's what it struck me as soon as we saw it. Yeah. It is indeed a cloak. And I think it's well named that it's called the cloak of the earth. Yeah.
I didn't tell you how much it weighed. It weighs 6.5 tons.
It must be the heaviest cloak ever.
I think so.
But I think it's just beautiful.
Did you imagine it was going to be like this when you saw the
Well, he
original?
sent me a photograph of it, and I thought, well, what's he going to do with it? And I had no idea. But laying it over like that is really appropriate, isn't it? You know, it's just amazing.
It looks so soft.
Yeah, it looks so soft, yeah, it does. But when it's that shape, with a dot in the middle, it's called the Kahu or te whenua, which means the eye of the earth. And a lot of, and this bottom one where there's just bits and pieces like that, it's called Toorakaraka. And Toorakaraka means a mass of pebbles.
It's about our integrity too as tangata whenua to see such a piece displayed in a very wide open public area, and I think it's an icon in itself. I believe it is, and you know, when you get two artists collaborating together on such a scale as this, it just says it all. It's got its own. It really has its own wairua. When you drive up to this roundabout and you spot it, and it really is a blanket of warmth, of aroha, of awhi, and manaakitanga, and it has a future for our people to look forward to.
After I saw it, you know, it looked like a Korowai. Yeah, and I felt like having a tangi.
Me too. I mean, when it was being lowered down over the rocks, I was tonguing, and Tanya was crying, and God.
No, it looks. That's what it looks like at Kākahu. Mm-hmm.
I still, as I said before, completely and utterly admire and Digger. I mean, I always have.
Go back a long way, eh?
Yeah, we do go back a long way.
Yeah. As soon as I saw that cloak, I was overawed. That's what it looked like, a cloak over something. Yeah.
But the materials of this one is stone, and that's the only way to make a Korowai last for 1,000 years, to make it out of stone.
Time will tell, won't it?
Time will tell.
Yeah.
I hope that...
You think you've come to the finish and then something pops up, maybe I'll have a go at that, yeah. Well, I'll appreciate stones more than I ever have.
Well, I appreciate Korowais more than I ever have, so... Thank you so much for letting us work with you.
That was lovely.
It's been a huge honour for me.
For me too.